Hey, so this is a small guide on how to get started with HaxePunk. I'm going to show you how to install everything, how to set up the environment, and basically getting everything ready so you can create your first project with HaxePunk. And I'll be mainly following this guide. You can find it on the HaxePunk website. Also, at the end of this video, there will be a couple of links to other sites that might be helpful if you run into any issues along the way. So the first thing we'll need is the Haxe toolkit. So we're going to go to haxe.org and click on download, and we're going to download the Windows installer. And I'll be using Windows 10, but this guide should work for Windows 7 and Windows 8 just the same. So once it's finished, you just open it and go through the installation. I recommend you just keep the recommended path to the Haxe toolkit, not change anything, but that's up to you. And that's it. So next we're going to install HaxePunk, and we're going to do that with the haxelib. And to do that, we're going to open the command prompt. So just type cmd in your search bar and open the command prompt. And it's actually pretty easy. You just type haxelib install HaxePunk, and it's going to download the HaxePunk library and basically going to do everything for you. It just takes a while. And it's also going to install Lime and OpenFL, and you can think of OpenFL like the equivalent to Adobe Flash for HaxePunk if you've used HaxePunk before. So it's like the basis for it. And as I said, this can take a while, so I just speed it up a bit. And once that's done, we are just going to type haxelib run HaxePunk setup. And this is also going to take a couple of seconds. And that's it. So let's close that. And now that we've got Haxe installed and we've got HaxePunk installed, we are going to need an IDE to actually do any coding in. So we could just use like TextEdit, but I like using FlashDevelop. So I'll open my browser and go to the FlashDevelop site. And I like using it just because I also used it with HaxePunk previously. So click on the download button, and on this page you're going to scroll down and download the setup. So let's just quickly go through that install. So once that's done, we can open FlashDevelop. And we could just start from scratch right now, but I've set up a template project which you can use to have everything set up for your HaxePunk project. Yeah, and I'm going to link to it in the description. And we're going to open it with FlashDevelop or drag and drop it in there. And it's going to ask you if you want to install the template, and click yes. And now when we go to project, new project, we're going to find our HaxePunk project template right down here. So I'm going to create a test project, going to call it hello world, just to see if everything works. It's okay. So we got our HaxePunk library in there and the basic asset folder structure, and if you're familiar with Flashpunk, this should be pretty familiar to you too. And so I'm going to set the target quickly to Neko, which is a sort of go-to target to compile to if you're doing debugging or like testing out your game, because it compiles really fast and runs nicely. And so I'm quickly going to restart FlashDevelop. So yeah, sometimes it doesn't update the reference libraries here. So now you can see we have HaxePunk and OpenFL and all that stuff, and we can just make a quick test to see if everything works. And I'm going to add a graphic to my scene, and it's going to be a text, and it's going to say HaxePunk is working. Yeah, so it's just maybe actually just put it a bit more in the middle, and let's see if that works. So just test our project, and it's going to compile. And there we are. HaxePunk is working. And that's about it. Your first HaxePunk game. So, yay. So, the great thing about HaxePunk and Haxe in general is that you can just write the code and compile it to basically every platform you need. But before you can do that, you're going to need to set up a few things for certain platforms for them to work and compile correctly. So we already tried Neko, and that's working out of the box. HTML5 is also just going to work. As you can see, it's working. But for Flash, we are obviously going to need the Flash player first, so we can just download that via FlashDevelop, and we're going to go to Tools and Install Software, and we're going to install the standalone debug Flash player, and click Install. And this is just going to download the Flash player from the website. And that's it. So now I'm just quickly going to compile for Flash. So sometimes you get this message which says basically can't find a program to open the SVF with. Never mind that, just going to quickly restart FlashDevelop again. So it updates the path to the Flash player, and we're going to go to the program settings and go down here to Flash Viewer, and now here is the path to the player. I'm going to copy that, and just in case it still doesn't work after restarting, going to go to the Flash file, and it's in the binaries folder in Flash bin, and click on Shell menu, and so can just do that in the Explorer just as well, and click Open With, choose another program. Let's select the Flash player, paste it in here, click Open. And now it's working. And when we compile again, it's automatically going to open the Flash player. So another target that might be useful is the Windows C++ target, which also requires some stuff to install first. So going to go back to our command prompt, so type cmd, open it up, and we're going to use the Lime tools to install all the stuff we need for compiling to C++. And we're going to do that by typing lime setup Windows. And it's going to ask us if we want to install the Visual Studio C++ Express, and just say yes. And it's going to do the rest for us. So now the installer will start, and this takes a while. And now we don't want to send any information about our experience. Yes. No. And yes. And you can do that just as well for any other system, like you can do Lime setup Linux or Lime setup Android. But if you want to compile to a certain target, like if I want to compile to Windows, I'm going to need a Windows environment. And if I want to compile to Mac OS, I'm going to need a Mac. And this takes quite a while, so it's speed up time again. Finally, we got that done, and that's it. So I'm going to quickly restart my PC. So welcome back, and now I'll open FlashDevelop again. And usually the C++ compile takes the longest for me, especially the first time, but as you can see, it's all working now, and yeah, that's it. So in the end, I just quickly want to show you a couple of sites that were really useful for me in going through all this. And firstly, as I've mentioned previously, the Getting Started guide on the HaxePunk website. If you want to look at any steps that I've been going through again, you can find them almost all here. And also there's a really nice HaxePunk Getting Started guide on the Hexcoder website. They have a really nice tutorial and goes into a lot of detail, and they also have a tutorial to make a small shooting game. The OpenFL documentation site has a good guide to setting up all the targets. So if you're still having trouble with any of the compile targets, or if you want to set up a target that I haven't shown you in this video, you can go here. And I'll link to all the sites in the description, of course. On the Hexflixel site, there's a really nice, there's this comparison between ActionScript 3 and Haxe. So how to declare your variables, how to write loops, basically everything you need to switch over from ActionScript 3 if you've used that previously before. And yeah, if you still have any questions or stuff that didn't work for you, maybe you can go to the HaxePunk forum, which I've also linked down in the description, or you can also just write them down in the comments, or maybe write me an mail. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope this guide was helpful to you.